Hello and welcome. Welcome to our Happy at Home series. I am so excited to welcome you to this. This all started last year, 2020. Um, our world went into a different kind of situation, and we kind of had to we kind of had to go through a whole different thing. So I am I'm so happy to be here with you for this today, and um, to be joining you for a new exploration of creativity. So welcome, and I'm so glad that you can be part of this. Let's have a look here. I need to open up the comments. Why is that? They normally open up automatically. Okay, well, I will figure this out and we are going to get crafting. This is our chance to kind of hang out, relax, play, and explore. So when you have suggestions of things that we should be exploring, I would love to, see some of what you are interested in seeing. So please let me know when you have suggestions or if you have topics that you think that we should be covering. I would love to know about that. And I see that we have Sandy in the house. She says, "Hi, Alice." Hopefully that means that you can hear me and that everything is working out right. So perfect. Today I really wanted to dig into one of the topics that I find I'm like super excited about right now. So I'm like, that's a good place to start. Start where the passion is, start where the excitement is. For me right now, that is in these new art stencils, layered stencils. I am all over these layered stencils, and I recently had the chance to participate in an event hosted by Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. They brought together a bunch of amazing card makers for a crop and create card making delivered event. Chrissy says, "Hi, Alice, you look fabulous." Thank you. Like, gee, do you know how to show up to a party? That's perfect. So I received a package of these Gina K art stencils, and I've had stencils before, so I was like, okay, stencils, great. But then they showed us different ways that you can use layered stencils, and I was all over it. So let me show you what we created in the card making, and then we're gonna play with this for scrapbooking because, okay, I like making cards about this much. Cards are just not my thing. If you love making cards, that is great. All the power to you. But if cards are not necessarily your thing, you're all about the scrapbooking, that's where my heart's at. Basically, I use cards as a playground for learning new tricks and tips so that I can take these ideas and put them onto my scrapbook pages. So hopefully that makes sense for you. Hello to Gina. Hello to Sherry. I see some people leaving comments. Thank you so much for joining us today for this. Okay, so this set also came with a stamp set, and we got a set of the little dies that goes with it as well. So we had all the pieces. So one of the cards that we made was this little hello one, and I've stamped little designs on the background. Very cute, right? That's nice. I like it. Jenny says, I like both, but prefer scrapbooking. Angela says, that's me too. Gina says, I don't make cards. Like, okay, so you guys are feeling it. Like, you're my people. So here we go. So card, that's a nice card. That's good. I use cards, right? You throw a card in the mail, and that's fine. Look how sweet this one is. But this one was done using the stencil. So I'm like, now this is starting to really feel like something that I hadn't done before, because you're looking at the layers in that card and it was super easy. Donna says, I like both cards and layouts. That's perfectly fine. I'm actually really happy for you, because I wish I liked making cards as much as as you know, I feel like I should, but I just don't. So, hi, Amy. Okay, and then this was one of the cards as well. And I tell you, when I made this card, I was hooked. I'm like, oh, this is lovely. This is so nice. And this I wanted to turn into something for my scrapbook. So that is going to be the plan today. If you joined me last year, you'll know that these sessions are all about exploration. If things don't turn out right, that's just real life. If they turn out great, that's even better. It's even better if it all works out good. But I wanted to use this kind of style to create a nice background paper that I can use for my scrapbooking. And I love artistic stuff for scrapbooking, even when because eventually I'll use that for storytelling. So I feel that for me, when I make something that's going to go into my scrapbook, even if I spend a lot of time creating something artistic, there's still the payoff later because that's going into my album. With a card, it's like kiss and farewell, right? and what do you do when you get it? You're like, oh, that's a really nice card. Okay. Eventually, it goes, right? I like the permanence of putting something into my album. So just my thoughts. So I will switch this up here. We've got the fancy system in place and me forgetting how to use it. So it's about time to give this a, there we go. Yeah. Okay. I feel good now. I feel good. So I have here the pieces, and I'll just show you kind of how they work together. So you have your first piece of the stencil. They actually have little words on them at the down in the bottom. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of etched on there anyways. And it says Gina K, Bold Flowers 1. And then it says GinaKDesigns.com. So you can see that. And then as long as you make sure that those words are in the right place, on the right side, you'll see that they will layer up properly for when you're doing your creating. So that is one tip, to make sure that you get the orientation of them right. And if you can't see it very easily, just you'll feel where that printing is on there to make it a little bit easier to see how they actually line up. Because you'll see these will give you nice centers for the flowers. So I've played with them a little bit. One of Gina's suggestions for cleaning them as you go, because sometimes you have to clean as you go, was that you can use a little bit of alcohol ink to kind of clean them off. And I actually, not alcohol ink. Did I say ink? Yeah, I said ink. So not alcohol ink, a little bit of alcohol to clean them off, like, maybe like sanitizer spray or something like that. A little bit of, that to kind of get that done. I need to get a little bit of water on this. So there we go. I don't know if you all double duty on your water beverages, but that's, now you're seeing the real. You're seeing the real here. This is the real Alice. So I'm just getting my stamp chamois wet by dumping a little bit of water on my desk, and like, yeah, that is how I create a little bit of chaos. So I'm going to pull a piece of paper. This is actually super stock paper. Can you hear this? It's like so thick and beautiful. I love it. It's from Creative Scrapbooker magazine. And I love getting their packs of the super stock because it is so nice to work on. I'd love to know if anybody has played with the Vicky Bouton foundation. Every time that I think that I'm getting some, no, they're sold out. And when they actually have it in stock, I'm not thinking to actually buy it. So, there's been a little bit of failure in my access of that. But I'd like to kind of compare this to her foundation paper to see how they weigh out. So Amy says she's got water like that more than once. So there we go. It happens. And so because these are more designed for card sizes, right? They don't fit your whole paper. And it came down to that gives me options. I could choose to use this 4 times and create a whole background, or I could choose to just kind of create a little pattern that kind of comes across the corner of my page, I could do some of this as background, and then I could do some more of these on some scrap paper and then cut them out and pop them up, you know. So I think that there are a lot of fun ways to create with this. That's what I wanted to try today, is playing with that a little bit. I think I need a little bit more water. I was trying to be careful and I was too careful. So let's be a little bit more generous with my water here so that I'll have a good cleanup. Okay. If you're like, oh, Alice, that's really brave. I'm feeling it. I know, every time. Like, Margaret says, hi, everyone. I'm so glad that you're all joining me. This is, yeah, I really love doing these creative sessions because, yeah, I was feeling kind of stuck at home last year, and I really wanted to change the narrative from being stuck at home to actually enjoying my time, to being happy at home, which is where my title for this all came from. So I think the colors I'm going to play with, I have a couple of these brushes. I got two during that session, so I've kind of made one pinkish and one yellowish, and then I have another one that I change colors and I wash it really frequently. These ones I probably won't wash very much, so I'll kind of keep this to the side. I really liked the colors that I had played with on this card especially. Like, the pink was pretty, like the pink is pretty, and the stamps or whatever, those were fine, but I love the effect that I created here on those florals. So I think that's what I'd like to try to recreate on this layout. And you know, if I was one of the people that planned things better, maybe I would have wrote down what colors I used, but I do know what colors I used generally because I was using my colors from Concord and Ninth. So I have Buttercup. I have one called Stardust, but I don't know if I had used that one or not. I think I used more of their grapefruit and sorbet to get some of the colors in the center of those, and that one looks like it's definitely one of those. I did make myself I broke down and finally okay, so tell me, have you ever made like the swatches? I'm gonna guess that Amy's gonna say yes. For your colors, I made the swatches for these. If you'd like to make swatches, go to Jennifer McGuire Inc. and she has downloadable templates that you can print off totally free. She's like super sweet that way, with all of the colors listed and the companies, so that you can print them off and cut them with super easy to use cutting instructions so that you can cut them into the little 2x2 squares. And she uses coin pockets for hers, but this was just one of those 6x8 sheets from like Project Life. It's a Project Life one. I think it came with a bunch of other ones, and I'm like, what would I ever use this for? This is not something that I do. That's not my thing. But I'm actually enjoying using swatches so that I can see exactly which color, because I can bring it right here and have a look. I did these ones with hearts because these are my Concord and Ninth ones. And the other main set that I have are these ones from the Distress Oxides. I just kind of upped my stash recently, so I've just filled those in. And I did those with the arrows, just so I could easily at a glance say these are the Distress Oxides and these are the Concord and Ninth colors. Do I have other inks? Sure, but these are the ones I'm kind of really digging right now. Do we say that anymore? Probably not. That felt like an Alice moment. So yeah, I wanted to kind of recreate this look. I think I did them with these inks. I don't know. I guess we'll find out once I start inking them. But I like the look of it, so we're going to go for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape down my background paper so that it's not wiggling around on me, because I have some serious issues with that sometimes, with my paper deciding to go and do its own things. So even just a little bit of tape in the corners can make a big difference. And then when I start with my template, I've got the words down at the bottom, and I'm going to start by doing this corner, I think, down here, and maybe I'll kind of spread it across and up, but I don't think I want to go too far into the middle of the page. We can kind of explore. Nicole says she forgot this was happening, but she's here now. I'm glad you made it, Nicole. Today I am playing with layering stencils from Gina K Designs that I recently got during the Scrapbook and Cards Today card making crop and create delivered event. There was a few words there, sorry. Like that's a wordy one, but it was super fun. Like I said, I'm not much into card making per se, but I like testing out ideas on cards. So this was great. Nicole says it's a great idea to tape it. Yeah, if you're not into taping your stuff down, I tell you. I have been using this purple tape from, I think it's Thermoweb, right? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. The purple tape I've been using for a long time. I recently ordered the mint tape from scrapbook.com, and I thought it was going to be really similar in texture. It's totally different in texture, but they're both low tack and they remove really easy. So with washi tape, sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it kind of tears. These come off really nicely. They kind of feel a little bit different, but I'd say of the two, the purple one feels like it sticks better, but this one makes it feel like it's going to come off super easy. So yeah, just note to self about the products. And my plan is to put all of the links to anything that you see that you're like, oh my gosh, what are she using? I'm going to put them in the description on the replay, but anything that really makes it to my favorites list, I am now adding to a page on the Scrap Happy site. So if you go to scraphappy.org/faves, Faves, and that's where you'll see some of my favorite products. So there'll be a few of my favorites linked there already, but I'll be adding more. Okay, so let's get to this. I'm gonna take my yellow Gina K brush, gonna add a little bit of this Concord and 9th Buttercup. Here, if I put this here, you could read it, right? That'd be helpful. And one of the things that Gina talked about when she did her class was how you can get different looks with the same brush. And she said, like, if you're holding it like this, it will be lighter. And then if you're putting pressure on the head, like you can see how this like is really bouncy, right? If you're putting pressure on the head, you're going to get more intense color applied to your paper there. Christine, I think they just call it purple tape, but I think it's from Thermoweb. So if you were like on scrapbook.com, you can find the purple tape from them too. But I think it's from Thermoweb. I think they just call it purple tape. I don't have a package anymore, but if I don't have it linked on my faves, I will definitely link it there because, yeah, I spent that time. Okay, so like real life, before we put this to the paper, let me just go here for a second. I spent that time thinking that, oh no, I have plenty of washi tape. Sorry, wrong one. I have plenty of washi tape. I'll just use washi tape. And then I'm like, well, everybody keeps talking about this purple tape. What's really so magical about it? Then I bought it. And I'm like, oh, it really is nice. It really is nice. So that's just my story on that. Okay, ink, and we're going to put it in. But with these, they actually have a solid center. So I'm going to start right in the center, rubbing them, and then spreading it out to the rest of the flower. Now you'll notice I didn't mask anything on this right now, but I just want to show you this look. So if I pull this up right now, do you see how this flower has like a darker part of the leaves, like the petals, I mean, not the leaves. The darker part is right around the center and then it's softer around the edge. I think that is so beautiful. It is super beautiful. Another thing you can do when you're using these templates, here, I'll use this tape, is if there's something you don't want to have color, say these little polka dots, you wanted to do them in a different color, you just take like little bits of your tape and you can cover up those little polka dots, and then afterwards you can mask off the flower and you can go back in and do those little polka dots. Or maybe you don't like them at all and then you just mask them off and then you're not going to end up with them. That's what I did on this card with these little flowers. So you see the little flowers are more of a peachy color. It's the grapefruit color, I think, from the Concord in 9th. Well, I masked them off so that they didn't end up being the same yellow color as the big flowers. And I think that was a cool effect. So maybe I should do that before I do the rest of them. So it's just throwing a little bit of that tape on there to mask them off. And then it just gives you more options for playing, right? Like you could just leave them, that's fine. Like there would be nothing wrong with leaving them the same color, but it just gives you more options for playing. Yeah, I have, this is only my second set. We got 2 sets during the event of these layering stencils. And I have to say, I thought they were great. So they converted me quickly, let's just say. They converted me really quickly to the idea of playing with layering stencils. Okay, I'm not even going to bother masking those ones because I'm just going to do the ones that are over here. And I'm not going to do the little one. But I have enough control to not accidentally get that one there. So I'm going to go in here, starting in the center and then just working my way out. And like I said, if I start holding it over here, you get a different look than if you go and put that pressure right on the head. You can see how much it really applies different pressure on that. So I'll do these 3 bigger flowers right now. For some people, they like to like blot off a little bit on a scrap piece of paper. You know, you could. You could. I think, you know, for me, it's just like, it's kind of fine. Here, this one is rather close to the edge. So if I was worried about this kind of going off the edge of the paper, you just can take that and put a little bit of tape there so that you don't end up going off of your stencil too. But you can see just how handy having that tape there is. Okay, so I've got those flowers. They're pretty much where I want them. I think I will move that template and make a few more of these flowers on here. So I'm just gonna pull this off of here. It's held on mostly by those purple strips, right? I've got that one in there. And then I can kind of place this wherever I want to layer them in. I'll do that in a second. What I really am excited to show, oh no, I better do this while I still have my yellow on my brush. I'm just so excited to move on to the next thing because I'm like, oh, look at this. So pretty. Okay, and I think what I'll do is I'll lay this one right here and we'll bring more flowers in this way. So I'll bring a couple more in here. Yeah. So I'll just kind of do this one corner of the page. And I think that will look gorgeous. But you can see, like, once you kind of get the pattern of what you're going to do, the coloring part goes really easy. Nicole says she bought some of the brushes, but she's not very good at them yet. Certain inks will be a little more forgiving too, Nicole. So if you are like, try with different ink, like maybe like a Distress Oxide if you have, because they blend maybe a little bit easier. There you can see my template was moving a little bit because I don't have it like super taped down. So if you're doing like some aggressive blending, you might need to tape them down, but this will work. Okay, so let's pick this up again. And I'm going to do one more this way, but you can see, like, what I could have done is lined them all up, but this gives me an offset pattern. So now I can line up here and with this one here and kind of fill in this bottom corner. And I'll do that really quick. Just get like this little bit of floral at the edge. It's really good to kind of go right off the edges if you're doing like a pattern, because it looks really nice. And then I'll place it onto this one here, line that up, and put it back onto this one right here. And then just do the same up at this top edge. Might have to move this over. So these are kind of going in a line. These are kind of going in a line here. And this should, let me get this one. So the magic is actually in the next step, because that's going to be where we see the real magic. I'll get this little piece up here. And there we go. So I have like this little bit. There'll be little flowers kind of interspersed and leaves and stuff like that too. So I can just set this one aside for now. And this is where the fun starts. So I'll move the buttercup, and I'm going to bring in this other template. I'm going to line it right back up at this bottom corner, because when we're just doing the first one like this, it makes it a lot easier to kind of see when you line it up, and then the other ones, we'll just move it around to kind of catch those extra pieces. So I think that'll be good. I don't want my leaves to turn out with these colors, so I might mask off some of the leaves on here, just so that I don't accidentally color the leaves all in peachy colors and stuff. Like, that would be okay, but it's not what I really want. Yeah, does anybody have any questions like about the templates? This bold flower, okay, what was it called? What did I call it? Bold flowers. I think it's just coming out here in April. So it's new, and it should be just coming out now. Or now-ish, right? It was definitely like an early sneak peek as part of the kits that we received for the event, which is super fun. You know, when you get that exclusive stuff that you get early, that's cool. Okay, so I'm using up tons of this tape on here to cover things up, because I don't want my overspray on this. It's kind of like overspray, right? Over brushing. Is that getting technical? A little. Oops, missed. Okay, so my little pieces all over there. Now, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to go into this with, actually, I might just do it with this other brush, and that way I don't even have to clean my yellow one. I'm going to take my darker shade in here, and like I said about the scrap piece of paper, you can kind of test to see if you're happy with the way you've inked. I'll tell you, this one here doesn't ink nearly as nice as those Gina K ones, so there's something to be said about getting the good ones, guys. This one does the job. So I'm going to go in and add this detail around the flowers. And it just takes like a couple little quick little swishes, right? And they look super gorgeous. Okay, so this is where we get the big reveal. Are you ready for like the oh kind of moment here? Yeah. So they just look so pretty. Oh, and I did this one in the totally wrong. How did I do that? I didn't even line it up and look. That's hilarious. Okay, I'll cover that one with an extra flower. We'll get to see what you do when you make a mistake. That's hilarious. Totally not paying attention. It's like, look at this. This is turning out so nice until I did that. But as you can see, I'm tore up over it. the thing. Like with scrapbooking, you have pictures. Likely that's going to be underneath my picture because I'd put the picture here. I'll have the title up here. I'll have some words down here. I'll never see that. So when things happen, don't stress. Just realize like it's going to be okay. It's scrapbooking. Diane says, a tip I was told is to start off the paper so you don't get a big chunk of ink swirl. Swirl it around the paper on the scrap to start. Yeah, so you can kind of like test it to see how it's going or work your way in depending on what you're doing here. This one is not lined up here, so I can see that right now. But I think I laid this down a little bit crooked, which is hilarious because, yeah, that seems about par for the course for me. So I'm just going to swirl this one here when I have it lined up. And then I'm going to line these ones because I think I moved it in between those. But this is easy, but when you make mistakes, they can happen. Don't panic. Like I said, scrapbooking. They're so pretty. They're so pretty. Oh my gosh. Okay. And actually, I think I forgot one of the steps that I did before on these. So I might go back and do that too. Where here, we gotta line these up. Perfect. Let's stick that down. When you're just doing a little section, it's easier to line them up too. Okay, now they look nice. They look good. Okay, so I'm gonna take this one. I wanna go back to this one here for a second because one thing that I didn't do, and I'm gonna take my my Lawn Fawn chamois and I'm just gonna remove the ink that's sitting on top of this stencil because it's really yellow, right? And then it's pretty dry, so it should be fine. I'm gonna take this this lighter color. So this was the sorbet that I used for the little lines, but I'm going to take this grapefruit color and I'm going to actually put this one back in on here. And I'm going to go and do just the edges of these florals with that. So I'll just rub my brush off. It's not really wet, but it's a lot cleaner, right? So if I went onto my scrap right now, there's not like a lot of color coming off on this anymore. So now I've got the grapefruit color and I'm just gonna go in here and just hit the very centers of these flowers. Just right around the centers of them. And I'll just show you how that looks here in a sec. Okay, so here's one that I've done that in, and here's one that I haven't. So you can see like the warm centers of them. And when I have this done, we'll bring the camera in closer. But yeah, I'm just going right into the centers. Because these have a solid center to them, it also makes it like easy to kind of go straight into the middle without having any worries about it. So we'll line this one up. Yeah, so that's a quick little thing that makes the flowers just look that much richer in their coloring. Oh my gosh, I love how that looks so much. Like so much. Okay. I had to line this flower up and I totally had moved it, so that's hilarious. This one is all crooked. That's Alice just doing her thing. Doesn't matter when you're just playing yourself and being creative, but like when you're like going on camera and it's like, hey, look, Alice is like just does the chaos. It's like, oh well, that's real life, honestly. There we go. This one is lined up right here. Get a little bit of that color in there, and let's get this one lined up. All right. It's just that the flowers have like the roundy bits there. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay. That looks great. I'm super happy with that. And then I'm going to use that same color, this sorbet color, to add those little tiny flowers. So I'm going to go back in here, line this up, and put the little miniature flowers on here. So I just need to find the little flowers and uncover them. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to be spreading that color when I do the little flowers back onto the big flowers. So I'll just cover those ones up. There's only a couple of those little flowers on this template. There's one up here and one there. So make sure that we get them where we want them. So yeah, this is the good part here, but I'll add these little mini flowers in and get those see, then they've got these cute little flowers in there. Oh my gosh. And I can move them and kind of stick them wherever I want them, right? I'm not going to be layering a bunch of stuff on those, so having them just kind of spread in here where I think they need to be is totally fine. As long as it's not moving around, it looks cute. Okay, so Gina says it's fun just to play. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And, you know, in the end, like we do things and we have like little errors and stuff, but in the end, when we look at the page, are we looking at that part? Like I used to be like really, really persnickety. Like I pretty much could have named that company the persnickety. But it was just a matter of worrying about the wrong things. Like nowadays, I get a little more stressed if I haven't done a really good story on my page, because that's really what I want to achieve. This part should be fun. If I'm not having fun with this, I'm doing it wrong. Sarah says, oh, you're using the stencil. Yes, I am. Making a mess, figuring it out, having some fun. Yep, I think that's good. Okay, I'm just gonna leave those in there like that. And then there are the little polka dots as well. And I might go back in and add the polka dots, but I'm just gonna give this stencil a quick wipe. I'm gonna definitely have to take my little bits of tape off of all of the little polka dots. And before I add polka dots, I might want to add some of my leaves in here. I probably should have done my leaves before I added the little flowers, actually, all randomly, but that's okay. Because I'll just use them and move them around. There. So wipe this one off, and I'll set this aside, and we'll go in and we'll do some of the leaves, because that would be pretty. So the leaves are on, oh, I gotta wash the stencil off too. They're on this stencil here with the little details, the center details. And so I had covered up the leaf sections. Now we want to do the opposite. We want to cover up the other sections. I kind of wish they had just done a separate stencil for the leaves to this part, because I would never use the leaves and this part in the same color. So, you know, note to self, that extra layer for me would have been worth it. Note to self and anybody making these things in the future. Hint, hint, hint. Sandy, weren't you here? I think she makes some stencils. Scrapping reflections. Shout out to my friend. But if she decides to do something of this sort, having the leaves separate would be, I think, a benefit. So there we go. As long as I cover most of the part that's closest to the leaves, I shouldn't get too much of it cross-contaminated on there. Messes are always a good idea. Oh, I know. I've made plenty of messes. It's all in how you respond to the mess on your page. So I'm gonna add in my green, and I think I'm gonna go in with parsley green as my base green. And I'm just taking the same brush that I'd used for this other color, like the grapefruit. I'm just wiping it off, and that will be fine. I'll show you here. Like, it's not leaving a bunch of streaks, right? It was a tiny bit wet right there because I washed it, but so that'll be fine. So I can take my green and I can start doing some of my leaves. And getting some of this, doing some of that leaf there, a little bit of vines. This vine kind of is leading into this other flower, but I think that's okay. I'll leave that one there. This one also is leading into this other flower. Just gonna kind of do as many of them in the places as I can. Oh, apparently I didn't pull these ones off. There. Bring these ones in. And down here and here. Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna do this one. Yeah, maybe I will. And depending on how much green you want, like you can go in and make these a little bit darker, but we also have another template on this stencil on this desk. And this other stencil has extra details for the leaves so that you can kind of make dual color on those leaves. So we'll be doing some of that as well. But even just like what you can do with like a little bit of shading as you apply the ink, I think that looks super pretty. So that's looking good. Oh, see, now it's like all coming together and it's looking so nice. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna put these little leaves right in here. And let's see, I can fit part of a little vine right here. And I know if I had lined everything up perfectly, that might have been easier to do, but this is like totally good. This is just gonna be too cute, so I'm quite happy with how this is all coming together right now, because it's a backdrop for scrapbook paper. And like, yes, you can buy scrapbook paper, but you know, there's something special when you kind of make some stuff for yourself. I love it. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with buying stuff. I use that too. In fact, coming up this month, we're going to be talking about layering. Not so much in one of these happy at home sessions, but we actually have a special Scrap Smarter session coming up this month. And that we'll start giving you some more information about that. I'll be talking with Amy a little bit later. Hint, hint, hint. Now you guys know. Hint, hint, hint. Now you know. Yeah, we might just have to look at a different date, Amy. So that's what I'm talking about here. But, how cute is that? Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is looking so nice. I'm gonna not even wash this off. I'm gonna like just kind of swipe off the top part of it, dropping things on the floor. And I'm gonna grab my clover. Do I want clover? I think I want clover. Keep it nice and bright. So I'm gonna use the clover on with the little detail template next. I'm gonna line the first one up in the corner just like I did with the other ones. And then I'm gonna add the green leaf details. And then I'm gonna go around and sneak a few more in. Now you'll notice when you line up the green leaves that they don't all line up perfectly into the corner of the leaves. can I show this? Here, I'm going to take this down. Try not to get seasick here. But I really wanted to show this. So when you're lining it up, this here, even though it doesn't look like it's lined up, is lined up. And part of that, like, so some of them look a little more lined up and some of them don't. But that allows you to get some of the beautiful detail edges on some of these leaves. So don't be panicked when they're not perfectly lined up. Okay, how can we make this look? Is that gonna work? Are you seasick? I'm sorry. Hopefully that didn't make you too seasick. Let's get back to that. But I really wanted to show that because I think when I first was looking, I was like, oh my gosh, it doesn't line up just right. It's okay, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. In fact, it was built not to. So there we go. Just something to say. So I'm gonna get these little leaves detailed out on here. And it's so funny because like just this little tiny touch of extra color just makes these leaves pop so much. I was so impressed. I'm like, I can do this because this is like so easy. Okay, let's get this one. And then we'll just slide it over and let's see, this is like a ferny leaf. This is where you'd want them to be lined up because it would make it a lot easier. Right here. But that wasn't too bad. You can see exactly. Let's see, this is one of these leaves. Add a little bit of this right here. And a little bit of this right here. And oh my goodness, yeah, this was super fun for me. Hopefully you see this and you're like, yes, I can see why. And templates like stencils like this don't tend to be very expensive. They tend to be pretty economical to add to your stash. And because you can use them with so many different colors and kind of in so many different ways, right? To kind of add your look of your cards or your flowers or whatever you're creating, your layouts in this case. And I totally want to make another one with this now where I actually do this in a different color palette and cover the whole background maybe. Yeah, I'm excited by this. Excited by this. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe off that green. I now have the base part of this background done. And one thing I could do right now is with the colored stencil, I could go in and fill in the centers of my flowers. One thing we did in this class though is we used the added stamp set to go in and add the centers of the flowers with those. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just use the stamp set so we can kind of see how nicely those two kind of work together. So pretty. That looks great. I can't buy that paper. That's right, Gina. You can't buy that paper. Amy says she's flexible. Thank you. There was this another event that I saw that came up, and I know that lots of our Scrap Happy family is participating in that event. So I thought we better, we'll do our best to accommodate. I really need you to start selling paper, Alice. Like if I took this and did this like actually like in like a slower time where I could make it, oh, it could be so pretty. It could be so pretty. I actually love that part of it. Debbie says your page is looking so beautiful. Well, thank you. You guys are so, like, maybe that's why I love doing these so much, is because I just get like all the compliments. I'm feeling all the love right now. Feeling all the love. So I'm going to go in and put black centers. Now, that feels weird to me because I'm not like the person that would be like, all the bright colors in a black center. But this card convinced me that was gonna look beautiful. So I'm all over it now. So here we go. This is just Memento ink. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's here. It's not looking very inky, actually. It's looking a little dry. I'm gonna test this off and see. Do I have a better ink? I have a brand new one that I have to open. Okay, so we're gonna see more of this month, but let's go here right now. Let's go here for a second. This ink from Gina K is the most brilliant ink ever. Like, seriously, it is awesome. I love that you can watercolor over it. You can use it with alcohol markers. You can just kind of use it as black ink. It is perfect if you ever have wanted to stamp and then do any other things and not have it smear. This is the baby that you've been looking for. This is the one. So I have a brand new one because I used my other one a lot. And I thought, well, I could get a refill or I could get a second ink pad. I ended up ordering the second ink pad. Yeah, I'm good with that. Oh, Mamarazzi, welcome. She says, hello, lovelies. Yeah, so we are on every weekday. So not weekends. I'm taking weekends off, but every weekday in April, we're going to be here creating and playing together. Now you're going to want to see this. So let me go back to this right here. And I'm going to stamp these in here, just in the middle of these flowers, or middle-ish of these flowers. You know, they're going to be pretty centered. If I wanted to make them ultra dark so that like they were piercingly black, I would put this on my stamp thing and stamp it with the stamp platform, because then you can go over that same spot multiple times and get the seriously perfect one. Yes, every weekday, not every day, but every weekday. So Monday to Friday, we're going to be at the same time, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern time throughout the month of April. There might be one day that I have to change, but mostly it will be at this time. Right? Yeah. Jessica says that made them pop. I know. And, you know, they have those black-eyed Susans. That's kind of what this is like reminding me of, right? Like those flowers, the black-eyed Susans. And this is going to be so lovely. And then what did I do on centers for the other little flowers? Oh, I did them as black ones too. Okay, I'll do those too. I'll just do what I did on that card as a layout. I got a little ink on my table there. Before I get all messy with it, I'm gonna wipe that up. Because there's messy and then there's extra messy. Oh, they look gorgeous, right? And just imagine my picture here. I'll pull that out in a second. I don't have the picture that I want for this, but I have a picture sitting here, so I'll give you an idea. So I'm just cleaning off this stamp really quick here, just with my Lawn Fawn chamois. I love that thing. Like, seriously, I fought with other stamp cleaners for years because they always left a little mess behind. And then they come out with this and it's just perfect. Okay, there is also a little tiny little dot for the center of these other flowers, and it looked super cute too. So I'm gonna do that also in the black. Oh, got ink on my finger there. And get these stamped, and then we're close to being done this part. And I think that to create an extra little bit of interest, what I'll do is I'll stamp out a couple more. I'll ink out a couple more of these on a scratch paper that I can use to create layers around the edge of my photo. Amy says she's setting alarms so that she doesn't forget. She's setting alarms so she doesn't forget. I have them set up on my phone too, so that they go off every day so that I can be here. Okay, so that looks, oh, it's so cute. Even the parts that are like slightly imperfect here or there look adorable. Now, I did not put the little polka dots into the background, and I could go in and add some of those. So maybe I will. I think they could look rather cute as long as I pick a nice color to do them in. I think just the yellow. I think the yellow would look really good. So just gonna add them to add that little finishing touch. I'm just gonna sneak them right in like there. Not gonna do like a bunch of blending. I'm just gonna kind of sneak them right on. And then I'm gonna move this over and find a couple other little spots to stick them. And how about one right here? And maybe right here. Yeah, I like that. That's like a nice little finishing touch, right? Sometimes you just need that little tiny bit. Give it that little touch. And I'm trying to get them quite bright. Yes. Okay. One right here, halfway on the page. Cool. Okay, that's the finishing touch. That is the end of this. And now, let me see. I just had a picture that was sitting here. Oh, it's horizontal. Oh, okay. So it's totally not the right picture for this, but if this is the picture. It's my son when he was younger, covered in bubbles. But if my picture was sitting right here, right, and then I have a few of these raised up, isn't that going to be amazing? I'm so excited. It's going to be so pretty. Yeah, I'm really happy about that. Okay, well, we are going to leave it here. And this is, I'm going to try to get this finished up and get this shared onto my Instagram. So you can go and see that at Instagram at Alice Bowl. It's very simple. Get there. And with not this picture, right? But I'll be trying to share everything as much as possible on that spot so I can have them there. Let's have a look here. Let's go back to here. And there. And if you are shopping at scrapbook.com, I do have an affiliate link that I always appreciate when people share when you use it. So if you happen to be shopping for something and you happen to use that link, then I do get a little something back from scrapbook.com, and I appreciate that very much. But and always check with your local scrapbook store first. That's always the first place to see. But this was super fun. I really appreciate you joining me. Hopefully this made your day a little happier at home. You made it look so easy, and I messed it all up. Like it is so easy. It is that easy. So I've got some templates to clean, some stencils to clean, and I'll get those tidied up. We will be visiting this idea of layered stencils again this month. I have a different one that I wanted to show. We won't do it tomorrow. I have something else for tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow is Good Friday. We're going to make it a great Friday, and we're going to hang out here together if you'd like to join me. So we will be together for that. And yeah, this is working. This is so much fun. Jessica said it. She said so much fun. And Diane, that is so sweet. She said, don't forget to like the video. Thank you. I appreciate that. It really helps. Thanks. that was a bribe. Thank you so much for joining me today. And like I said, we'll be back all this month, and I'll be sharing lots of really fun ideas for getting creative with your scrapbooking. We'll be exploring techniques, we'll be exploring products, we'll be exploring ways of creating a feeling on your page. We're going to dive into all of it. Oh, I could see that love. You guys are so sweet. We're going to be diving into all of it, and hopefully it will be a great month of creativity. And I hope you're going to join me. You forgot to center the little flower in the upper left. Oh yeah, there's going to be... Oh yeah, you didn't get the middle. Thanks. I'll get that. I love it. You guys are all keeping me on the ball. It's the kind of little details that you see when you finish up the page. And you're like, oh, totally missed that. Gail says, I'm late to the party. We're going to be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. So much fun. Oh, if you hit that notification bell, you'll know when we go live because you'll get the notifications. That is like one thing that I always forget to remind people. So you'll get the notifications. Okay, talk to you tomorrow.